Hi folks, this is John with GMIT Label. I want to take a quick minute here and talk a little bit about the cleanup and maintenance of a Z4 printer. It could be a Z4, Z4M Plus. Let me first remove this, the rewinder and labels out of the way, because I want to open up the throat of the printer so we can talk a little bit about it. So let me take this and get it out of the way here. This is a non-perf media, which is why you see me cutting the also rewinding it, but I do want to get this out of the way to open it up so we talk a little bit about the maintenance. Let me take this up, take the labels out so I can expose the head and so forth. Basically what I did is I opened up the where the print head assembly sits, and most of you probably already know this, so I'm going to sound somewhat redundant, but there is a magnet where you flip it up. Zebra's pretty much thought of everything on this here for easy cleanup. But you were exposing the actual throat of the machine. There's some key parts here that we should note. One, this is your lever that releases and also clips the head. This is your roller that actually the print head rides on, and it's a soft, not a real soft, but it's also a soft roller where in fact you can add some pressure on the head to the roller so that you get a nice clean impression transfer when you're doing your actual printing. Then inside here you have your photo eyes, your reflectors for sensors, all your sensors basically. You got one back here, one here, one here. And then in the back here you also have your where the label rides on it. Now I want to start from the back and towards the finish. This is basically how you want your printer to be when you're operating it clean. When I say clean, you want to make certain that the reflectors, all the sensors and so forth, let me just say sensors, are all free from dust so they're not blocked and give false signals. Also, you want to make sure that your print head rest assembly is clean of any ink, debris, adhesives, and most importantly too, you want to make sure there's no adhesives on this back here where the actual label material. A lot of you, when you call up, you always first mention that maybe you might have a label that's stuck on one of the roller or so forth, and a lot of reason what happens is one label will get stuck, transfer some adhesive, and then from there it just kind of snowballs where more labels are being picked off and jammed up into the system. Now the other thing is you have your guide here that should be slid in place when you're running your labels and so forth through there to keep the label liner and the label itself also in place while you're printing. Now what you want to do is, once again, you want to make certain that the back of this is always clear of any kind of debris, adhesives. You want to make sure the dust is out of all the sensors, which is here, here, and here. And you also want to make sure that there's no adhesive or ink buildup on this roll or this roll. You want to make sure it's always clean. Now basically for the maintenance items, what you should have is you should have some rubbing alcohol, some kind of a cup to put the alcohol in. You won't need much of it, as you can see. And you want to have some Q-tips, and then you want to have something, in the event you get a label rolled up on here, something where you can start an edge of the label to remove it, but you don't want to cut this roll. It's important that you don't cut this. So don't take a utility knife to this roll, but to remove the label. And as you can see, just with your fingers, this is fairly easy to turn so you can take any label material off. And you also want to make sure that all the label materials are removed here. But once you have the all the label materials off of it, or even if you don't, then you want to clean it. And you should also have some kind of a clean soft cloth rag like I have here, for instance. And what you want to do basically is start with cleaning the print head. And I actually have a print head to show you. This is an actual head. It would be for another machine, but it looks like this when you take it out. And it's under here that you want to take and you want to start cleaning to make sure you get any ink or debris on that head off. And the reason why is because anywhere you have any kind of a buildup, it becomes a high spot, and that gives off bad print, or it won't transfer the ink properly and so forth. And as you can see, it starts to come off. When you have it on the machine like this, basically you want to put some rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip, and that's all you want to use is a Q-tip. And just wipe it down, as you see me doing here, so you can take it off. And then when you get to the rolls also, if you can, you want to wipe that down. If you feel better with a rag, take a rag, put a little rubbing alcohol on the rag, and you can just wipe it like you see me doing here. Once again, not only any kind of ink buildup, any other debris, but you also want to get any adhesive. Anywhere where the label moves, you want to make certain that the adhesive is coming off with it. I was asked one question, is there ever a time to use acetone? I say try not to use the acetone unless you absolutely have to, and if you do, use it on a metal part like this here to get any kind of hard adhesive, because I realize some people are using synthetic labels with very aggressive adhesives on them and so forth, and rubbing alcohol sometimes just doesn't cut the mustard. So you may want to use it for that. But you can see the rubbing alcohol does a fairly good job removing any kind of buildups and so forth that you see, but you want to try to clean these rolls as best as possible. So ultimately, the label material has a clean, smooth path to travel, and these rolls are doing its job as far as creating the friction to actually pull the label off the roll and through the machine. But that's basically how you're going to operate your machine to get it to run again, clean again. But that path all the way from back here to here should be clean. Let me just take this through. In fact, I'll do it a different way here. Feed the label material through here again, just so everybody can see it. And the Z4 is actually very easy to load back up. Flip this up where it belongs. Put the guide in place, as you can see I'm doing here. Make sure it's under the one sensor. Pull your label material through, your ribbon material. Line it up with your label. Lock the head in place. Oops. Make sure you get a little tautness on there. Okay, let's see what we got going here. Let's see if we can't get a print. And as you can see, the machine comes right back. So this is the kind of printing you want to achieve. The main goal is keep everything in here clear, clean from any kind of debris, any kind of ink buildup, also any adhesive. And then anytime you adjust your pressure adjustments are right in here. You want to make certain that you have the minimal amount of pressure to achieve and the lowest heat setting to achieve the highest quality printing possible. Once again, John at GMIT Label. Thank you.